The Nazi plan to engineer a master race. Lebensborn, Hitler's breeding program. On December 12, 1935, the same year the Nuremberg racial laws stripped Jews of citizenship, Heinrich Himmler quietly registered a new organization called Lebensborn e.V., Fount of Life, under the SS. The premise was straightforward and chilling. Germany was not producing enough racially acceptable children. Himmler was obsessed with demographic engineering. He believed the Aryan race needed to be deliberately cultivated, like livestock, to produce a population worthy of the coming thousand-year Reich. The problem he identified was social stigma. Unmarried German women who became pregnant by SS men typically sought abortions rather than face public shame. Himmler considered this a racial catastrophe. Every aborted SS child was, in his framework, a genetic loss. Lebensborn was designed to solve this. Hitler says subscribe and like for more content. The program operated through a network of maternity homes, comfortable, well-staffed facilities that offered unmarried pregnant women a place to give birth anonymously, away from their communities without social consequences. To qualify, both the mother and the father had to pass racial and medical screening. Genealogical records checked for Jewish ancestry, physical examinations measuring skull dimensions, eye color, hair color, and other pseudoscientific markers of supposed Aryan purity. Women who qualified received free prenatal and postnatal medical care, comfortable accommodation throughout pregnancy, complete anonymity if desired, assistance placing the child with a vetted SS family if the mother could not keep it. In exchange, the children born in Lebensborn homes became, effectively, property of the SS, to be raised as model National Socialists. The most prolific mothers received the Cross of Honor of the German Mother, a state medal awarded in bronze, 4 children, silver, 6 children, and gold, 8 or more children. Between 1935 and 1945, Lebensborn operated 10 homes in Germany, 9 homes in Norway, the largest expansion outside Germany. Additional facilities in France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, Denmark, and Austria. Estimated births within Lebensborn facilities, approximately 8,000 children in Germany, approximately 10,000 to 12,000 children in Norway alone. Smaller numbers across other occupied territories. Norway became the program's most active theater, because Himmler considered Norwegians among the most racially desirable people in Europe, tall, fair, Nordic. SS men stationed in Norway were actively encouraged to father children with Norwegian women. Some women participated willingly, attracted by material benefits during occupation. Others were deceived or coerced. After the war, Norwegian Lebensborn children and their mothers faced brutal social ostracism, branded as collaborators. Many spent decades in institutions, faced abuse, and were denied their identities. Some were ABBA singer Annie Fried Lyngstad's origin. She was born in Norway to a Norwegian mother and a German sergeant in 1945, a Lebensborn child who only discovered her full history decades later. Special SS racial examination teams called Rasse- und Siedlungshauptamt, Race and Settlement Main Office, were deployed across occupied Poland, Ukraine, Czechoslovakia, and Yugoslavia. They examined children, often in schools, orphanages, and village roundups, measuring skulls, assessing eye and hair color, and rating them on a racial suitability scale. Children who passed were forcibly removed from their families. The process was systematic. Children were separated from parents during village raids. Orphans from families killed in Nazi actions were automatically candidates. Some parents were told their children were being taken for, quote, educational programs, and would return. Children were renamed with German names. Their original identities were deliberately destroyed, documents burned, records falsified. They were placed in Lebensborn homes, then with German foster families, and raised as Germans. An estimated 200,000 to 250,000 Polish children alone were kidnapped under this program. Similar operations ran in Ukraine, Yugoslavia, and Czechoslovakia. Total figures across all occupied territories are estimated at up to 400,000 children. Children who passed racial screening went to Lebensborn homes and German families. They were given new German identities, raised speaking German, and deliberately cut off from any knowledge of their origins. Children who failed racial screening faced grimmer fates, sent to forced labor, concentration camps, or simply killed. After the war, tracing and recovering these children became one of the most complex humanitarian challenges in Europe. UNRRA, United Nations Relief and Rehabilitation Administration, and later organizations worked to identify and repatriate kidnapped children, but faced an almost impossible task. The children had been renamed, their documents destroyed, and many were too young to remember their original families or languages. It is estimated that only 15 to 20% of kidnapped children were ever successfully repatriated to their countries of origin. Many grew up as Germans, discovering their true origins only decades later, sometimes through DNA testing in the 2000s. Some never discovered the truth at all. The Norwegian Lebensborn children formed an association in the 1980s and 1990s, eventually winning a case before the European Court of Human Rights in 2007. though the court ultimately ruled their mistreatment had occurred too long ago for the Norwegian state to bear current liability. The Norwegian government later issued a formal apology. Across Eastern Europe, families who lost children in the 1940s searched for decades. Some reunions occurred, elderly parents meeting middle-aged German-raised children who barely spoke their native language. Many searches ended in nothing. The program produced no master race. It produced tens of thousands of people, with shattered identities, falsified histories, and the lifelong task of reconstructing who they actually were. Himmler was arrested in May 1945 and committed suicide before he could face trial. He never answered for Lebensborn or the kidnapping program in any court. The children paid that price instead. Subscribe and like for more content.